Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. What you're about to see is a clip from our most recent podcast episode. If you like what you hear, you can go listen to the full episode down at the link in our description. And if you like what you watch, please leave a like and consider leaving a subscribe. We very much appreciate all the support, but without further ado, let's get to what you clicked for. Anish, to start it off, Dak Prescott got absolutely paid. And, you can break down the contract a little bit, but I want to know from you, what it means for the Cowboys, what it means for Dak, and what you think it means for the rest of the NFL. Good deal, bad deal, kind of the normal stuff where we break down the contracts.
So for Dak Prescott, so the deal is 4 years, 160. It's 126 mil guaranteed, and he's getting 75 mil total his first year. And I think it is roster bonus, signing bonus, and salary combined. So I think that's 75 total mil his first year, which is 2021. So he got paid. I believe it is the second highest overall I think annual salary, also second highest overall contract. I think it's just above Deshaun Watson. So with this deal, it's kind of iffy because this has been going on for honestly 2 years. This whole contract dispute. It was thrown out in 2019 after I believe Dak went to the playoffs the year before, and they were like, okay, fine. Dak has been a really good QB for the Dallas Cowboys. He's kind of been their franchise guy. Let's extend him. But that 2019 season where they go 8-8, that gave Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and the Cowboys front office leverage. Okay, you didn't make the playoffs here, right? Biggest game, you choke it to the Eagles, who were pretty hampered in Philadelphia, and you lose the division. So can we really have you be our long-term guy to get to where we need to be? So that question arose. And obviously, I actually probably mentioned this a couple of times because I've heard it on many media outlets. Dak Prescott is actually one of the most durable quarterbacks, at least we've seen in a while, for at least his first 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
And then the ankle, right? Like that was so, just unexpected. Obviously a gruesome look at it. I didn't expect it at all. Prayers out to him. I know he's doing well. He's on track to actually come back week 1. There were reports out on that. But to go into the deal, I have never been, the biggest fan of Dak Prescott. I don't hate on him. I never thought that he was just like a game changer. I didn't think that. Even in 2016, there were flashes, so that's why I never said he wasn't bad or wasn't good, but there wasn't anything like, that I saw from a guy like Deshaun Watson or Josh Allen. Again, I think he's just a tier below that. Now that's not bad. But I just think there wasn't anything, in those first 4 years where I think, okay, he's going to get this team to where it needs to be. So I saw this article, or I think it was a post, and it said, what are the Cowboys going to be in the next 4 years? Is it going to be 1 to 2 playoff appearances, no playoff appearances, 3 to 4 NFC champions, or Super Bowl champions? Now, if I were to put it in that retrospect, I think they go to the playoffs 1 or 2 times in the next 4. But, it's not this Cowboys curse or anything like that, but I just don't see how, you're going to be able to pay your defensive guys, because just think about the contracts that they've had. And even with the insane amount of restructuring, it's going to be really hard to deal with. You overpaid Jalen Smith. You overpaid DeMarcus Lawrence, right? You gave them, DeMarcus Lawrence was $21 million annual salary, and insane guaranteed money. Same thing with Amari Cooper. It wasn't that bad, but again, 5 years, 100 mil, you're paying him the same as Michael Thomas. Now, Amari Cooper is no Michael Thomas. And then Ezekiel Elliott, 6 years, 90 mil. That 6 years is a lot of time to put into a running back. And like Jack has said, and I've agreed with him every step of the way, running backs primes don't last very long. And especially keep them under lock for 6 years, that much money, not worth it. So now with this contract on Dak Prescott, it's not, because I know they can easily restructure it. The money is not going to be the issue in terms of for him, but for the Dallas Cowboys in terms of salary cap, it's going to definitely be an issue down the road. So the deal I thought was a little bit iffy. Fit wise, rest of the NFL, the Cowboys will always be up there for the NFC East because it's just so unpredictable. But I just don't see them as an NFC contender for the next couple of years. And to kind of, let Jack analyze it as well, I would say good deal for Dak. I think he deserves it. He came in as a 4th round pick, lot of pressure on him to replace Tony Romo. It is America's team. It is one of the most star highlighted positions in football, if not the most. So he comes in, he does really well. Never anything bad about him off the field. Been a great guy. So I think he deserves the deal. For the Cowboys, it's a little bit questionable because you have now overpaid all of your stars and it's going to slowly come to bite you back and eat you up.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, obviously great for Dak Prescott to finally get his money, but I'm a little bit disappointed that he's back with Dallas. Like, I feel like, yeah, he's a tier below those talents, maybe like Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen, but we saw what he can do on the field this year. I mean, with the stats that he put up were absolutely insane. The problem was he just wasn't getting wins, and I don't know whether that's a problem with Dallas or with him, but I just felt like he needed a change of scenery, and it kind of sucks knowing that he was mistreated kind of by Dallas for years, and now they've got him locked up. Like, yeah, they paid him a lot of money, but it's kind of like they got away with the whole situation. Like, Dallas has had a lot of turmoil in the past couple of years with, what's on the field, not on the field. But Dak's kind of always been that steady and calm presence. Obviously, in the past, that meant not getting injured and just being a good guy and not getting caught up in anything. But now I just feel like he's stuck on the Cowboys, and he had a choice, and it would have been great to see him have a choice and go to a team that would have, rolled out the red carpet for him. And I don't think that's what Dallas did. And I think even then, like, just even though he got the money, I still feel like the Cowboys took advantage of him a little bit just because they got away with the stuff in the past. And I feel like he could have picked somewhere where he could have won more football games. Like, this Dallas defense isn't very good. Their offensive line is getting older. Yeah, there's a lot of weapons there, but Mike McCarthy isn't great, and they've got a lot of money tied up in a ton of other places. And now Dak, look, and I know you did videos on it. I think going to Carolina would have just been better for him in general.
I 100% would have wanted. I'm telling you, there isn't as much upside. Look, what has Mike McCarthy done? How has he adapted to NFL offenses? He hasn't. And again, Carolina, I saw so many great things that I can see in them in the future. And, they're not a quarterback away from anything too big.
They're a quarterback in time away, at least.
Yeah,
that's
of course. Like this team could easily make the playoffs next year. There's so many young pieces that are getting better. I think I've talked about a lot about the Panthers.
Oh yeah, we have.
But I mean, for Dak Prescott, there's so many other things. You can even bring up Chicago. I mean, there's so many other teams that could have given him upside to, win football games. And I think, to go back to Dak's stats, at least this year, he was on pace for so many passing records, or at least going up there.
He had almost 2,000 yards by week 5.
Okay, put it in perspective. He had more passing yards than Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson. So Dak, I believe, played 5.5 games. He had more than Baker and Lamar in their first 11. I mean, that's just absurd to me. But I think, it's not even hating on him or saying anything bad, but I think his passing stats were a little bit skewed because, and it's not just he's a garbage time quarterback. I will never say that about anybody, but I think some of the passes and some of the things that he's done. So for example, the Browns game, a lot of Cowboys fans will bring up that Browns game. And the problem is you were up 14-7, right? And there were 5 drives where you only amassed 50 yards total. Or sorry, not even that. I think it was less. And, not a single first down. There were turnovers. It wasn't all on Dak. But those 5 drives really had the Browns take over and build that 41-14 lead. Yes, he brought him back. Yes, he played well down the stretch. But there are some crucial moments in the game where Dak Prescott not necessarily folds, but isn't up to par with, his quote unquote passing, standards, I guess. Yeah. And I love his deep ball, just looking back, even when I had to watch some Dak Prescott film when I was doing that Panthers video. And some of the throws he makes, he's got a beautiful spiral. And, he'll make plays with his arms and legs. There's really no absurd weakness to his game, or something really highlighted. But I think, what does this, again, back to the question, what does this mean for the NFL? Do the Cowboys really scare you? As an NFC, they don't for me.
And for me, when I was thinking about it, there were three draws to the Cowboys for Dak Prescott, and one of them kind of revolves around that is he doesn't need to scare anybody with the Cowboys because they're gonna win the division or they're gonna be up there for the division. If he went to the Panthers, I mean, you got to compete with the Saints, the Falcons, and the Buccaneers, who the Falcons probably won't have a chance, but I mean, in the NFC East, he can basically run the division. If everything works out, he can very easily run the division. The other two were the fact that, he's been a Cowboy for a long time. And just, I think for him, there might've been a little bit of sticking it to the Cowboys. You didn't want to pay me and now you have kind of thing. But look, he has so much talent and the production is there. And I think he's easily a top 10 quarterback in my eyes, but it's just
really
I think he's top 10.
I put him in the tier. So, it was so hard because someone asked me a few days ago to rank my quarterbacks, and I didn't know if I had to put Prescott in there that's a question too. I think people are just kind of writing it off. How is he going to come back from the ankle? Now, I'm not saying he won't. It's not that big of an injury, right? We've seen people, for example, ACLs used to be a big deal. Now it's, with treatment and medical advances, it's been so great. 9-month recovery. People have really, for example, Thomas Davis had 3 ACLs, just retired, but I mean, he played a lengthy career despite having 3. So, it's just a question that I'm throwing out. And I think to put it, to kind of pause on that top 10 thing, would you agree with me here? I think he's in the tier of, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Justin Herbert. I would say I'd put them in that tier. If you want to put him above, below, I think he's right there.
I'm going to try and pull up the document, but I'm planning on, once more quarterbacks get situated with their team, doing a ranking of all the quarterbacks in the league. And I guess I'll spoil that a little bit by finding Dak's ranking. But when I was thinking about it, it's just how do you deny it? It's just trying to find a balance with he played 5.5 games. But those 5.5 games were electric, tons of points, tons of yards and touchdowns and stuff. But then again, also, how do you balance that with not having enough wins? They didn't, other than the Falcons game. The Falcons game was a great performance, but then you got there's just so many things you have to factor in with Dak Prescott. And so I want to believe that everything will work out on this contract. And I think he deserves it. In my opinion, he's a top 10 quarterback, but I don't see everything working out with Dallas. I
don't either.
With all of their contract situations, I just don't see them winning a
So I got 2 questions for you, because I think, and hopefully people in the comments will respond to this too. So one, do you think Dak will get another big contract? Do you think he will get another, big extension like this? So do you think he's going to have his prime will last more than 4 years? Do you think that?
I do. And by the way, I had him as a 10th. I had him right at 10. Actually, there was a 4 guy stretch with the 4 guys that you said in his tier right there, from 9 through 10 or 9 through 12. And so I do think there's
a little bit of Browns bias in me, but so I wanted to ask you this: would you take Dak Prescott or Baker Mayfield? I'm not going to answer because I don't want to throw my, but I'm curious because I don't think I've ever asked Jack, just in general, either off camera or on camera, would you take Dak Prescott or Baker Mayfield?
Well, I guess I'll spoil who I have at 9. I have Baker at 9. And so I would take Baker. Youth is a big issue, or is a big factor. And while Dak, never got injured before this, he got injured now, and Baker hasn't been injured yet.
Knock on wood. More
recently won a playoff game. And I think that the resilience, they've both shown resilience, but the resilience that Baker showed last year, bouncing back, and then also from season to season, but also then in the middle of this season, is why I'd go with Baker. But to bring this kind of full circle on Dak, I think you'd agree with me. Great signing for him, just great getting his money. But I just feel like there's just something there that leaves something to be desired.
And also for, you got to look in Cowboys perspective too. I think this keeps them relevant, because if Dak is gone, now that comes the question of who's going to be the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. We do remember when Tony Romo was injured and they went 4-12, Cowboys were unwatchable. And, Jerry Jones is as much of a businessman as he is a football fan. So, he doesn't want the Cowboys to be irrelevant. And I think that's something.
I mean, they were once Dak went down, they were irrelevant. I didn't watch a Cowboy. They were 2-9, or 3-9, that stretch. Unwatchable. I mean, it was terrible Cowboys football, and they started winning some games down the stretch, but it was already too late. And so I get the point that you want to stick with Dallas, want to stick with the team that drafted you, all of that, but I don't know. I just felt like I really wanted to see him with a new team, because there were so many different it's for him, but also for the rest of the NFL, because if he doesn't get an extension, then the QB carousel is just insane. And because wherever he goes, it causes so many different domino effects. So it just left a little bit of something to be desired for him, because I wanted to see him kind of get out of Dallas, but also just for the rest of the NFL.